The Atlanta-based CDC classifies the hantavirus outbreak as a level 3 emergency, which is its lowest level. The designation means the agency is assigning disease experts to lead the response. Right now, some CDC staffers are on their way to meet an estimated 17 Americans on board the cruise ship in the Canary Islands. Those passengers will be flown to Nebraska on a charter flight to quarantine at the National Quarantine Unit. Meanwhile, the CDC is working with 5 states, including Georgia, to monitor 7 passengers who previously disembarked from the ship. That includes 2 Georgians. One of those passengers is a woman from Brunswick, according to our sister station in Savannah. The CDC says none of the former passengers are showing any symptoms.